Let's try to solve question number 4. Question number 4 says find the total number of area codes in each market and state. Display in descending order of number of area codes in each market and state. So is there a query within a query? No, you're trying to just say display the market, display the state, and then find the number of area codes in that market and state combination. So if you read it, you have to read it very carefully. You have each market that comes first. In that market, you can have many states, and then you got to find the number of area codes in that particular combination. So let's look at solving it. So we know that there's no query within a query. So we need to find out what you want to display. You want to display market, you want to display next state, and you need to count the number of area codes in those combinations. You're counting. So which means there's an aggregate measure. That's what you want to display. Market, state, and the number of area codes in those two combinations. Obviously, it's going to come from two tables, from state coffee and area code. Since there are two tables, you got to have a joint condition. In a visual query, they're always anyway connected, so you have less of that issue. But if you're writing SQL, you have to explicitly join them based on the state ID, which connects state coffee with area code. Since you have to count the number of area codes, obviously you need to group by. You're grouping by market and state in the same order. Since you're trying to find them in descending order, you're ordering by the count of area code in descending. So let's go ahead and do that now that we know what we need to do. Create, query design. We need area code and state coffee. Close. So we need to first pick market, size, and area code. Since we need to group by market and state, you see here the totals. The totals will let you group by. Click on that and you find group by appearing here. Since we need to not group by area code, but you need to count, if you click here, you say count. So there are many number of aggregate measures here. This where and expression is where is basically you can put condition on that. Say count. So now you see market state the count of area code, and we want this area code count to be in descending order. So if you click on sort descending, it now puts that results in a descending order the number of area code, and we are done. We can run this. And you see in the West market, you have California state, and we have 26 area codes. Now, if you look at this, the attribute name here in the result, it says count of area code. And, doesn't make much sense. I want to rename it. If you want to rename the result of any aggregate measure, click before the area code and say, let's say count area. Instead of code, I'll just say count area and colon. So what it does, it renames the result that you find here count area code and calls the attribute name count area. If you run this query, you find now count area as the attribute name. Now, if the question was somewhat different, it says, you know what, find the top 3 market and state with the highest number of area code, the top 3. Now, how do I find the top 3? This is very unique to Access database. If you go to Oracle or other places, it has to be done in a different way. If you go here, return, you have all. Instead of all, go back and say 5. Instead of 5, you click 3. So now it basically returns the top 3 with area number of area codes. Say run, and you get the top 3. Now we can do the same thing with SQL too. When we look at it, it says pretty complicated inner join and you tend to get confused. I'm going to delete all of them and I'm going to start from scratch. So you want select market, state, and count of area code. I can rename the result as count area from area code, comma, state coffee. Since we have two tables, we got to have a join condition. So where area code dot state ID equals state coffee dot state ID. Now I appended the table name for state ID. Why? The state ID appears in both the tables. So you got to, if you clearly have to say which state ID are you talking about, area code state ID or state coffee state ID. So since the state ID appears in two different tables, I'm going to append the table name to say which one are you talking about. Group by, you're grouping by market and state, order by count area code. Since we want descending, say DESC and semicolon. If you want the top 3 of 5, select top 3 and here, and now you get exactly the same result as the previous one. Now if you made a mistake, spelling error, it'll give you an error. If everything is fine, if you hit run, it should work perfectly fine. So you realize once you know exactly what you need to do, querying is fairly straightforward.